Good morning. All right, so today we're going to be focusing on another similar type reteach of yesterday, but just a little more in depth. We're going to be exploring slope and the equations of a line. So let's start over here with these ones, then I'll come over here to this, and then I got one more example. All right. First things first. The first question you always want to ask yourself is my line a negative slope or a positive slope? And if it goes up and to the right, this direction, you know it's positive, so no need to put a negative sign in front of it. So just get those habits going quickly. Now, in today's work, you're not going to see the dots on the line. It's going to be on a grid paper, and you got to identify where the line itself goes through the four corners on the graph paper. That's essentially where the dots are, okay? That's like where the intersections of 1, 3 are going to be. So I'm looking here, the next thing I ask myself is, how much does it rise? How much does it run? Well, it rises 3 and it runs 1. So my slope is 3. And my y-intercept is 0, so I can just leave it as such. No need to put plus 0 or minus 0, because you'll never see that on anything we do in anything in math. Over here for this one, again, the first question you ask yourself is this a negative line or is this a positive line? And you can tell it's going up and to the left, therefore it's negative. So the first thing I'm going to do when I'm writing the equation line is I'm going to put that negative sign, because that's the most common error kids forget. Do not forget to do that. And then just count. How much does it rise? It rises 1. It goes left 1, 2. So the rise over run is 1/2 x, and my y-intercept is down here at negative 2. So there's that equation. Another example. All right. Well, this one is still going up and to the left at a very steep level. So we know that it's going up and to the left. It has to be a negative. Put that negative sign first. Get that out of the way. Now, I can't count up and over. But again, remember, over here, this one went up 1, left 2, or also down 1 and right 2. I could still identify that slope based on that information. So because I can't count up and over, and we already know it's negative, I'm going to just count down 1, 2, right 1. So this is a slope of negative 2x. And my y-intercept is 1, 2, 3. And my last but not least one is over here, and this one is going up and to the right at a very shallow angle. So we know it's positive, and it rises 1. Now I'm even with that dot, and it goes to the right 1, 2, 3. So 1/3 x, and then this is down here at negative 2. I'm hoping now this is making a lot more sense for you guys, and you'll see some practice of that in today's work. Now, I apologize about using green. I'm running out of markers here at the Weber household, but do the best you can with me. So this should be a little reteacher from last week, but I know there were some issues. That's why I go from easy to medium to hard. I'm going to make it extremely easy for you, hopefully. Now remember, the y is always the rise, and the x is always the run. Always. All right, so don't get confused, because kids always think, oh, the number on top's the rise, the number on bottom's the run. No, make sure you guys remember this. All right, and always go in there and write it if you want to. You don't have to, but it's just a good little teaching thing. Now, we got to find the equations of these lines. These two are going to be easier than this one, and you'll see why in a minute, but check this out. I already know my y-intercept. My y-intercept is whenever my x is 0, that's my corresponding y. Think about it. The x value here is 0. The x value here is 0. The x value here is 0, and the x value here is 0. Whenever the x is 0, that corresponding y is the y-intercept. So this is nice. We already know our b is negative 3. We already know our b is 2. All right, that's a given right there. We don't know what it is here. Here's the first thing we do. Let's see. As my x's are going up by 1, right? As my x's are going up by 1, my y's are going up by 2. Just look for that difference. And it's the constant pattern. So this one was rather simple. My rise is 2, my run is 1, my slope is 2 over 1, but we know it as 2. So the equation for this table is y equals 2x minus 3. All right, now this one, now this run is running up by 2, right? Going up by 2, going up by 2, going up by 2, so on and so forth. But now my rise is going up by 1. Okay? So my rise is 1, my run is 2. That is a fraction of 1/2. So my equation for this table is y equals 1/2 x plus 2. Now, again, these are suggestions. I'm just trying to spell it out for you, make it easy as can be. Okay? Now this last one gets a little trickier. Okay? Always look at the x's, how the x is increasing or decreasing. In this case, they're increasing by plus 4 every time. Okay? Constant pattern has to be linear. And what's happening with my rise? Well, my rise is going up by 12. Hate these odd numbers. Going up by 12 constantly. So I don't know my b yet. We'll figure this out later. We know our m is 12 over 4 or 3. So far, I know my equation is 3x, and I can do plus b. Now, yesterday, I showed you guys a mathematical way to solve for b, and we can do that exact same thing if you'd like to. So I'm going to do that real quick, and then I'll do it over here to the side. So if I wanted to solve for b, let's just pick 2 points, x and y, and replace them with x and y to solve for b. So I'll use these points right here, 2 and 7. So I'm going to do 7 equals 3 times 2 plus b. 7 equals 6 plus b. Subtract 6. 1 equals b. Okay, so now we know our b is 1, so our equation is going to be y equals 3x plus 1. Now, another way to do this without getting into all this heavy writing and stuff is you can just simply look at the table and say, you know what? 3 times negative 2 is something, but I got to make it equal negative 5 when it's all done. So 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Well, if I add 1 to negative 6, I get negative 5. That's another way to do it without having to do all this work if you don't want to. Now, it's not always going to be this easy, but you can do that. There's many ways to do this. I could have chosen another point. I could have done 3 times 6 is 18. Well, I got to make it equal 19, so I just add 1 to that to make it work. That's a way to do it in your head without getting into all the heavy writing. I'm going to do one more example for you, and then you guys are free. So, let's say I got this right here, okay? If I got these points, 4 and negative 6, and then I also got negative 1 and 4. Can't see this, can you? There we go. So, if I got these points, I want to know what is the slope. Well, let's do it. Let's calculate the slope. So m equals, I want you guys to keep doing this, x1, y1, x2, y2. So going in, you know the formula, remember, is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So my slope is going to be 4 minus negative 6 all over negative 1 minus 4. Minus negative is now plus positive. So this is 10 over negative 5, which is negative 2. Okay? It's that basic. Let's get good at our math. Math's The next question says, this is just straight out your book so you can see how I want you to think through this. This says find 2 more points on this line. Well, we don't know what this line is, so it's hard to determine what 2 more points are on this line if so far all we know is y equals negative 2x plus b. This is a very hard question to answer if I don't know the equation of my line. So that's why sometimes the book doesn't really make me all that happy, because I wish they would have asked another question first, like what's the equation of this line? So let's do that. Choose any one of these points and let's find the equation of this line so that we can correctly and efficiently answer this question. So let's just choose this point. 4 equals negative 2 times negative 1 plus b. 4 equals 2 plus b. Subtract 2, 2 equals b. Now I know the equation of my line, which is y equals negative 2x plus 2. Now this question is really simple. Well, let's choose a point over here. For instance, when x equals, watch how we can do this in our head so fast, okay? So if x equals, I don't know, let's just say 7, right? Right? Y will equal negative 2 times 7 is negative 14. Negative 14 plus 2 is negative 12. There's 1 point. There's another point. Let's do an easy one. They haven't used 0 yet. When x equals 0, y equals 2. You can keep on going. Just you're doing basic substitution to answer these questions. When x equals, let's say, 5, right? Y equals 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. Negative 10 plus 2 is negative 8. Okay? That's all you got to do for today's work. So I will see you all in class.